How long should it take to get good at guitar, in your opinion? So good being subjective. Listen, most guitar players secretly feel they should be further along than they are. They see people online playing impossible things. Like we go on YouTube, we go on different social media platforms, and we're like, how is he or she playing that? You see thumbnails promising instant breakthroughs. You hear phrases like, learn this in 10 minutes. Now, I've been guilty of that, but I will do my best. If I put that in a thumbnail for a YouTube video, I will do my best. Or you see 15 years in 15 minutes. But this is the problem that nobody wants to talk about, which is the subject of this podcast. Guitar takes a long time, years, not weeks, not months, years. We just have to accept that, all right? So this is not meant to discourage you. It's actually meant to free you. We're going to talk about some key points here, because once you accept that guitar is a long game, you embrace that pain, that journey, you can stop chasing shortcuts. You can start building something real. Welcome to Mr. Omar's Music Lab, the podcast. Let's get this thing rolling. Here we go. Okay, go mow the lawn, do those dishes, do that laundry, take a walk. Let's talk about this, all right? I've got 5 kind of key points, sections, whatever you want to call them. If any of this resonates with you, loop back, make a comment. The more interactivity we get here, the better these podcasts are. All right, let's just go into this. Section 1, guitar is not one skill, okay? Again, years. I will never sugarcoat this. A lot of players think they're learning guitar. It's not that. It's just you're learning. It's a bunch of skills stacked on top of each other that you got to connect and glue together. So let's just go over a few. Number 1, rhythm. Rhythm is king. It's so much the king that I've made a merch line, and you guys have bought a lot of merch that says rhythm is king right on the merch, okay? It is true, because without that, you have nothing. You're learning chords. Then you learn what triads are, timing, picking, strumming, ear training, fretboard knowledge, musical memory, improv. You're learning what touch is, feel. You're developing your musical taste. Number 1 thing you need to develop is your confidence. So that's why I keep talking about when you collect and you don't connect, you're kind of done for, okay? And we're going to kind of keep looping back to this section 1 here and connecting all this, because these are just all the parts, right? Because guitar is a language. It is a technical skill. It's a listening skill. So you're not learning one thing. That's why it's really hard. Guitar is hard, really hard. And that's why most people quit in the first year. So you're already winning in my book if you're here listening to this and you're going for it and you're putting in the reps. And if you haven't started playing, pick up an instrument. I challenge you to challenge yourself. Again, musical language, physical skill, listening skill, timing, skill, all at the same time. That's crazy, right? But it makes you so smart. It's so rewarding. Of course, guitar takes years. Just look at how many things I just talked about that we're asking our brains and our hands to do all of this at the same time. So that's just going to take time. Like over here in this video that you're just listening to, or maybe you're watching part of it, I got that drum kit. I am trying to put in the reps on that thing too. I'm trying to build, essentially, here's what you're doing. You're building all the wiring in your brain that doesn't exist. You're laying the groundwork. You're building your musical pillars, right? So I did something the other day. It sounded so simple in theory. It was like, okay, a couple hits on the snare. And then when I go back to hit the snare again, I do the hi-hat with my left foot. And when I hit the snare again, I do the kick with my, obviously my right foot in this case. But it was so crazy hard. I'm like, why can't I do this? And I just realized, well, this just takes time, but I'm pretty good at it now. So again, all these things that we have to connect and glue together as guitar players, that's what makes it so hard. So just accept this is a long game. It's going to take years. There are no shortcuts. All right, let's go to section 2. All right, let's go over this 10,000 hour rule, because I think it gets misunderstood a lot too. Basically, the gist of this being, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this, and please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. If you spend 10,000 hours on anything you're trying to get better at, you'll probably become what people will say expert. I just like to say you're advanced, right? But here's the thing. It's not just the number of hours you put in. The main point of this little key point is that it's what happens inside those hours. You could spend, think about this, you could spend 10,000 hours playing the same 3 open chords. Hopefully you're not doing that. I know people that almost have done that and still not develop rhythm, lead playing, triads, ear training, fretboard confidence, connection. You could spend 10,000 hours noodling and avoid every weakness that is holding you back. So your time matters. How you use your time matters. Your direction matters just as much as your time. So you got to think to yourself right now, how are you using your time when you're sitting down to put in those reps? You don't get rewarded for spending time, right? Like again, 10,000 hours of the same 3 chords, great, you got 3 chords. You get rewarded for spending your time wisely, efficiently. Efficient, the word efficient is one of my favorite words in the language because I just think it's everything. It's how you can advance quicker than others by being efficient. And we're going to go over some of those things here. Okay, let's go on to point number 3. So, repetition builds whatever you repeat. It's a pretty simple concept, right? This is one of the hardest truths in guitar, though. Repetition, it just works. It doesn't care what you repeat, though, because if you repeat sloppy timing, you get better at sloppy timing, right? If you repeat tension, like if you're real tense, you get better at playing tense. If you repeat guessing on the fretboard, you get better at just guessing. If you repeat avoiding rhythm, your rhythm's gonna stay weak. So when you show up to put in those reps, make sure you're efficient with your time and you're building, I've said it many times, your musical pillars. And in fact, I have a whole podcast on that, and I go over that in the very first podcast on here, 5 brutal truths of learning how to play guitar. You got to buckle down and start building your system. So when you're putting in those reps, you're doing it in the most efficient manner, right? That's what you do. You got to ask yourself this question and think about it right now. Drop in the comments if you can. What am I actually getting better at right now? What am I getting better at right now? I mean, I guess if I had to ask myself that question, what I'm getting better at is connecting everything to the guitar where I can improv it with my band. And that's a whole nother thing we can go over later. So ask yourself that, like, make sure you're putting in the reps, but you're being efficient with your time. So repetition is going to build whatever you're repeating. Make sure you're repeating something that is a musical pillar that you're trying to use to be the most efficient at whatever that may be. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Let's go on to section number 4. Some things can only be earned over time, right? That's why the efficiency matters so much. That's why good practice matters so much. But some parts of the guitar, they just can't be hacked. Like, there's so many videos I want to make to try and show you guys certain things, whether it be about rhythm or connection. And a lot of times I struggle to find ways to like capture that in video and put it into words because I'm like, well, you know what? They can only figure that stuff out by earning that over time by putting in the reps. It has to click for you. It has to make sense to you. I can show you all the frameworks and it might be a little bit ambiguous, you know, when it comes to what I'm trying to show you. I'll give you the framework and I'll try and convey the idea, but it's only going to be learned over time or experience. Things like touch, right? Your touch on the instrument, your feel, your groove, how you develop your musical tastes, how you use dynamics when you're playing, your confidence level. You're just trying to be the best version of you. That's it. You're only competing against one person on this planet, and that's yourself. That's why I always say, only you can stop you, so don't stop. And the people that quit, that's the only failure there is in the world of music or guitar or whatever your instrument lane you've chosen is, right? So like, you know, sounding relaxed when you're playing with other people, knowing not what to play, what not to play, when not to play, like learning that space is probably more important than the music you're playing. That's why I talk about those muted strings all the time. Even just recognizing the fact that the guitar is more like a drum set. It's a percussion instrument, right? And I've talked about that thing too. Like, You learn how to not make mistakes by keeping that rhythm train going, by using that muted strings technique. And if you don't know what that is, it's just when you lay your fingers across the strings. You're not playing any notes, no chords, nothing. You're just making a percussive rhythmic thing until you can recover and find your way. Little things like that, you just earn over time from thousands and thousands of reps over years and years. Now, again, don't get discouraged when I say years and years. Actually, kind of embrace and smile at that fact that it takes years and years, because you will know when you start reaching a level that's driving you like the passion to show up and put in the reps, that you'll smile at knowing, man, I really put in the time. I earned this. And that, to me, is kind of what's lost in our world right now, especially with the younger generations. The instant gratification factor. And it's not a lot of fault of their own, because they're born into this world. Think about everything is at our fingertips right now. Everything we do. Even me, learning how to be a better recording engineer, how to make my music better, knowing what I'm good at, I had to put in years and years of reps to learn how to record and mix music, but I had a passion for it, and I showed up and I talked to pros at it. But it all goes into like my bag of tricks. So when I want to record a song on guitar, I know how to record it at a high level. So, and I know what I can't do. Like, I'm not a mastering engineer, so I'll hand off my mixes to a mastering guy. But see how all this stuff glues together. But it's years and years of time put in trying to figure this out. And again, some of these things, they can only be earned over time. Like, you can learn a few chords like in your first week, but then learning how to connect them to the guitar in a musical way, that's a whole nother thing. That's where the years of experience comes in. And that's another reason too why I have all my instruments and everything I do is within a finger's reach. If I want to record a new idea, if I don't want to do it on my phone, I can turn on my gear within a matter of seconds. Everything's very accessible. So when I want to put in the reps to get better at something, it's right there. I don't have any guitars in my cases because I probably wouldn't go get them out of the case as much. Now I just pull them off the wall, whether it's an electric or an acoustic, and I just keep putting in the reps. I've played for 35 years now, and none of us will never know it all, and that's the beauty of it. But we want to have that passion to keep driving us. You need to want more. You want to be the best version of yourself. So just realize, these things are not learned in a weekend. They come from time spent with your instrument. They come from songs you're learning. And not only just learning that song, but I'm going to say, I've said it again, going deeper. Ask yourself, what made this song that I'm playing? How is it created? Going deeper, right? Repetition. When you make mistakes in the beginning, you start to learn how to not make mistakes by recovering. Maybe you didn't even think of the guitar is really a drum set. It's a percussion instrument. So just little light bulb moments. A lot of these most of them are mental. And then you learn how to take that mental awareness and apply that technical part onto the instrument. Again, brain and hands working together. It's a lot. That's why guitar is so hard. Music makes you smarter than any subject on planet Earth. So some guitar skills are not downloaded, right? They're just earned. So just realize it's going to take years, but smile at that fact. It's a really great thing, okay? So let's go on to key point number 5. So how to make the years count, okay? The answer is not to quit, obviously, because if you quit, well, then that's the only failure in music to me is if you quit. So if you're here listening to this, you haven't quit, you're going for it, you're going to put in the reps. If you're not playing an instrument yet, everyone on this channel, we all encourage you to challenge yourself, pick up an instrument. It could be anything you want, make music, create art. There's nothing better than that in the entire planet. The answer is not to panic. Don't panic. Listen, frustration will be a part of the game, but remember, there is no success without pain and failure. So let's take the word failure, right? Failure to me is not failure, it's just the struggle. It's the pain that you have to embrace. The only failure is if you quit. Failure is just falling down, getting up, falling down and getting up. So really, it's not really failure per se. It's more embracing the pain of the struggle, like putting in those years, putting in those reps. So you need to build your musical pillars. I say over and over, meaning this. Your pillar might be this. Always focus on your rhythm every single time you play the instrument. So much, in fact, I've said this in a lot of videos, As soon as you pick up your instrument, before you play one note, one chord, one anything, do that muted strings technique. Get your body flowing, get in that groove. That's a little musical pillar. So maybe your pillars, chords and triads. Take a 3-chord progression, for example. Let's say you play G, C, A minor. Play the open chords, but don't do it for 10,000 hours for 10 years, and that's it. Take those open chords and then ask yourself, where's 2 more places on the guitar neck I could play G, C, A minor? Okay, figure that out. Usually triads is a great place to start. Go work on your bar chords, and then find a way to connect those musically. So that could be your little pillar you build. So when you learn a song, right, go deeper on that song. Stop. Don't learn 10 more songs. Stop on the song you're on. Maybe just look at the intro of the song, or the verse, or the chorus, or the bridge, whatever elements are in that song. And then go deeper and be like, what actually made that part? What chords are in that progression? Okay, now how are those chords constructed? What are scales or fragments I can connect to that in a musical way with rhythm, right? So then you go into the ear training. Your ears getting all this training just by showing up and putting in the reps. Again, that takes years. Then all the fretboard knowledge you have. You are blind to the fretboard. It is, you know nothing when you first look at it, but as you start to make those connections, it becomes more and more fun. It's funner. It's so fun when you start making those connections, and then you know how to translate that into making music, which is what it's all about. So it takes years to make music, but you're developing all these skill sets because you never know what one day you're going to wake up and you might decide, I want to be a producer. Maybe I want to record music. I want to be in a band, or I want to be a solo. All these skill sets, all these years you're putting in, you're just cultivating those skill sets. It's always, you don't know what you don't know. You might not know what you want to be yet, but one day you're going to wake up, and I'm going to promise you, you're going to have some kind of desire or passion because you're usually inspired by somebody or something you saw, and you're going to want to strive to be that. And all these years you're putting in are going to pay off, right? So make those musical connections. Don't chase shortcuts, all right? So I'll pre-apologize now. If you see me say, get better at guitar in 10 minutes by doing yada, 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 I promise to do my best to give you the frameworks for that. But I always tell you the truth, like, hey, because here's essentially what you're going to need to do. Paint this picture in your head. Look at everything you do on the instrument as a 3 to 5 day cycle, right? So if we just use that same idea of G, C, A minor, you do the open chords. Let's say you learn a couple of triads that are like G, C, A minor triads, and then you're getting pretty good at rhythmically going back and forth between the open chords and the triads. Maybe you throw a bar chord in there. So do that for like 3 to 5 days and get it really tight rhythmically. And then as you move forward through that 3 to 5 day cycle, on day 6, this is just an idea for you. Add another element. Maybe you add the G major scale. And then you say, well, how can I connect this scale now into this chordal thing I'm doing? So now you're connecting harmony and melody. And that's one of the hardest things for any musician to do, to flow rhythmically, connecting harmony, like rhythm and melody. That is not easy. So little things like that. And then as you move forward in your journey through the years and these 3 to 5 day cycles, and you're adding new things to your musical catalog, you're always looping back in the circular motion. You don't leave behind new things you add and not work on them. Obviously, that's a pretty obvious thing. You just keep working on them. So as soon as you feel like you're a pretty good rhythm player, you keep addressing that. You keep working on that, right? It's like going to the gym. You go to the gym, you build up your strength, and then if you quit going to the gym for a year, you're going to lose that strength and when you go back again. But if you're consistent and you keep working on things to keep that level playing field, but keep leveling up, that's what I'm talking about here. So that's the whole gist of why I wanted to do this. Like, this takes years, not weeks, not a weekend. But if you do what I'm saying here and you're smart with your time, if you're smart with your time, you can build these musical pillars, all right? You can get really good at the instrument quicker than most people if you have systems, musical pillars, musical systems in place. So Do not rebuild your entire practice routine every week. Do not do that, okay? Pick a few important things and keep coming back to them. So that's why I say kind of 3 to 5 days. Go over them on a deeper level, okay? Doesn't matter whether it's a song, it's something you came up with, okay? Even when you write something, ask yourself, okay, I wrote this. Try and go deeper and understand it, reverse engineer it and figure out how you did that. And then connect things that make sense in that format or that framework and move it forward. Hopefully that's making sense. So again, connect, don't collect. You don't need 100 new things. You need a few important things practiced deeply over time. That's what the best players do, okay? And your ear is just gonna keep getting training. You're gonna get ear training just as a byproduct of that, of doing all these exercises. Okay, so to wrap this up, you guys, guitar takes longer than most people want it to take. I get it. But you know what? I love the fact when I see great players, I know they've put in years of time, okay? And I love it for you. I want you to have that too. So definitely drop, where are you in your journey? Are you in, like, how many years have you been playing? What are you struggling with? What's going well? And just embrace this, okay? It doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're learning something deep, okay? The danger is not that guitar takes years. The danger is like you're spending those years avoiding the things that would help you grow. Again, so be really efficient with your time. I'll do my best on this channel to help you with all that stuff. I got hundreds of videos on here. I'm not stopping. I'm super committed to getting better in myself. I'm just like you. I just want to be the best version of myself. So accept the long game, build the right pillars, practice with direction, and keep going. The years are going to pass anyways, right? So the real question is, what kind of guitar player do you want to become during those years? Okay. Hopefully you had some fun. Drop some comments. Did you get your dishes done? Your laundry? How was your walk? How's your dog? Drop Jellyfish or your favorite sea creature in the comments. Remember what I always say, only you can stop you. So don't stop. Keep going. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.